amazing book on desserts.
Speaking of desserts, I had an amazing one last night. At the top was something called meringue, the bottom was cake, and the middle was ice cream.
That sounds like baked Alaska.
That's it! I want to see if I can make it. Chillbot, what do you have on Baked Alaska?
No, that's regular Alaska. We want baked Alaska. Chillbot, no. Baked Alaska, the dessert.
That looks pretty easy. Want to help?
Totally. Oh, but first...
This recipe calls for a cake base.
Oh, we have no time to make that.
Well, we can always use a substitute. We have ladyfingers.
Hey, speak for yourself.
I think mine are pretty manly.
You meant the cookies. Those will be perfect. And if we didn't have that, we could use pound cake instead. That would work too. And this loaf pan will work.
Next, we need ice cream.
Well, we don't have ice cream, but we do have raspberry sorbet.
What's sorbet?
Sorbet is frozen sweetened fruit juice or fruit puree.
That'll work. Next, we'll have to take the plastic wrap on top of the pan so that it doesn't stick. We need overhang so that we can just plop it out. And we need to wrap it over too, so. Other way now. Got all that. Now just press it down. Ready to scoop it out.
Mmm, the raspberry sorbet looks delicious.
Next one. Yay! Smush it with this spatula because it's bigger so that it takes the shape of the loaf pan. Spread it around like butter. All right. Could you help me with the lady fingers?
Sure.
What we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to lay it out. And we have to press them onto the sorbet. And I think we'll probably be able to fit 4. Just squish it all together so it doesn't have any spaces.
I can't wait to try this.
Ta-da! Fold this over. And then it's back into the freezer until it's frozen solid. The recipe says we need 4 egg whites, but how are we gonna separate the egg whites from the egg yolk?
Well, take 2 bowls, crack an egg, and then you pass the yolk back and forth between the 2 halves of the shell. The egg white just kind of falls out. Then you put the yolk into the other bowl and save that for later. It's very important that none of the yolk gets into the whites. So I put the egg whites into our mixing bowl, and that way if I make a mistake, I don't have to start from scratch. Here, you give it a shot.
So I pass it back and forth.
Nice.
Yolk goes there.
Nice egg cracking, Lily. Right, great. I'll put the shells in the compost.
Let's start whipping.
The mixer can hurt. Get a grown-up.
I'm gonna start it on low. Then go high. It's foaming!
Well, that means they're almost ready. Or angry.
Next, put the salt in and the cream of tartar. Why do we have to put in the cream of tartar?
The cream of tartar makes the meringue stiff. It's kind of like hair gel for the egg whites.
Next to go in is the sugar.
I'll just sprinkle the sugar in. Here we go. Keep whipping that, and after a while, it'll have peaks.
And it defies gravity! Next step.
Well, next I'll preheat the oven so we can broil.
Broil? What's broil?
Broiling is when you cook a food at high heat from above. You know, in the oven.
What? We're gonna put sorbet in the oven? It'll melt.
Well, the recipe is called baked Alaska.
But sorbet melts even when you put it on the counter. How's it gonna stay frozen in an oven?
Well, we're covering the sorbet with the meringue, and we're only using the top element of the oven, so the meringue must protect the sorbet with science and special meringue powers.
You don't know, do you?
No.
Hey, Science Whiz. How does sorbet not melt when you put it in the oven?
You totally can't. It's scientifically impossible. Oh, unless it's insulated. Insulation is like a temperature barrier. Have you ever had a cold drink out of a thermos on a really hot day? That's because the thermos insulates or protects the cold liquid from the hot air. It lessens the amount of heat that goes from the air to your drink. My hero. All right, it's time to insulate me from the cold. It looks chilly out there.
So meringue is the insulation. It protects the cold sorbet from the hot oven air, and then the sorbet doesn't melt.
You learn something new every day.
All right. Now I'm gonna unwrap all of this and then flip it over. Ooh. Take the pan off. Unwrap it again so that we don't cook plastic wrap.
Ah, I made it really easy with the plastic wrap.
Now we have to put the meringue on the sorbet.
Well, we can do that through piping. I put the meringue in a resealable plastic bag. All right, then I cut the corner off. And that way I can control it.
Cool. You can control how it comes out. Could I try?
Totally, go for it.
All right. All right.
Here, and you can use the back of this spoon to get all the little holes out. Go in little tiny circles all the way around.
Okay, so little tiny circles. Let's get broiling.
You.
Ovens are hot. Get a grown-up.
Now, broiling cooks foods very quickly, so we gotta keep an eye on it.
Now might be the perfect time to see how Baked Alaska got its name.
Funny you should ask, Louie. I'm on the set of a comedy that's all about Alaska. The dish used to be called Norwegian omelet, but in 1867, a restaurant in New York City renamed theirs a Baked Alaska in honor of America's purchase of Alaska from Russia, and the name stuck. I just hope we finish filming soon. They decided to film all the outdoor scenes in the coldest place they could find, Winnipeg.
It's ready. Let's cut it to see if it's melted. The insulation works, but is it delicious?
Sure looks good. It's really good, Lily.
The cookies work great as a base. I love the raspberry sorbet, and the oven might not have melted it, but I will. Chillbot, could you please get me foodie file number 102A, the Great Bake? The meringue was firm and golden on top, but the sorbet was still frozen. It turns out the meringue topping does more than just look and taste good. It also acts as insulation, like when you take a coolie to the beach and keep your drinks cold, even though it's hot outside. Might be time for another bite. For this and other recipes, visit www.tastebudstv.com.